People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
People power.
Our power.
Our power.
People power.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Thank you. Please take your seats, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Herbert Daughtry and your dear wife, Reverend Dr. Daughtry, our brother, our elder brother, and constant inspiration, Professor Milton Alimadi, Dr. Daniel Kauma, and your entire team, the leader of our diaspora here in the US and in the world. Comrade Herman Aineliona, our immediate former diaspora leader, and the entire former leadership. The Honorable Betty Namboze and your dear husband. Fellow leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a special day. Allow me very warmly to welcome you for this interaction, ladies and gentlemen. I know your time is very, very valuable. In developed countries like this, I always say that this is when you realize the practicality of the saying that time is money. Amen. So I won't thank you for your time, I'll thank you for your money. Here we are in these walls, in this historical church, standing here before you, speaking on this microphone. I can feel the spirit of those that came before us. The fathers and mothers of freedom, those that inspire us beyond these walls, beyond this city, beyond this country, all over the globe. It is humbling to have shared a seat where Joshua Nkomo, the great, sat, to be addressing you from the same walls that the great Nelson Mandela once addressed, and those that came before us. And I'm sure without doubt that the reward of freedom for them and the generations that came after them are the sure rewards that we will get. It's just a matter of time. It is even special that we are in church. We are in the presence of God. Looking back in the 1960s, in the times of the civil rights movement, the great Dr. Martin Luther King used to speak in church, in the presence of God in the temple. The great Malcolm X used to speak in mosques, and many other leaders. So I don't doubt the presence of God where we are. This week alone has been a very revolutionary week to me. I came to this country not necessarily to meet the community of Ugandans or the Friends of Uganda. I was invited to Washington, D.C. to attend the State of the Black World Conference. And I decided to grab the same opportunity to meet and interact with brothers and sisters from Uganda, from near Uganda, and all those that care about Ugandans, the Friends of Uganda. We are very, very glad to have you today. I dare to say today that when slavery ended in 1865, slavery is still going on the continent of Africa. The only difference it is being practiced by those that are supposed to guard us, our leaders or those in power. It changed those that are running it, and it changed a form. Today is modern day slavery. Because looking at our young boys and girls that are being shipped out of our country into the Arab world to face humiliation, to die miserably without care of those that are supposed to defend them. I don't know if there's any other word to give it other than freedom and other than slavery. Brothers and sisters, this that I'm saying has been said time and again. I know that it was even worse with our brothers and sisters here in the days of slavery. But I talk in the context of Africa, where I'm very well informed. Once upon a time, we were under colonialism. Our grandfathers and grandmothers struggled, fought to defeat colonialism. And the day, particularly in Uganda, on the 9th of October 1962, when colonialism was ending, when we got independence, there was celebration on the streets. Our mothers as young girls, as our fathers as young boys, celebrated, they danced, they broke into song because a new day had come, or at least so they thought. For the first time, their sons and daughters were going to be in charge of their country, would be in charge of their destiny, and would be in charge of the grand wealth that the Almighty God bestowed our countries with. Before the smiles could dry out, before the songs could silence, there was wailing again. Because yet again, those sons and daughters that had been celebrated had turned into a monster. Dictatorship as an evil had crawled in. You all remember the times that Africa has gone through and the suffering returned. The joys were very short-lived and the tears returned. There was death, there was suffering, there was wailing. I'll tell you that in Uganda particularly, our fathers and mothers were convinced by General Yoweri Museveni that the time had once again come to end all that suffering. A time had come to write a new chapter in the history of Uganda. They joined, they sacrificed everything. 500,000 people died when General Museveni started a war against the government that he said was dictatorial, against a government that he claimed had rigged elections, against a government that he claimed was abusing rights. And yes, on the 26th of January 1986, another new day came to Uganda. General Museveni, courtesy of the people of Uganda, who he mobilized and told them that they had to pick up arms and fight for their lives, who he had convinced that the price of losing their sons and daughters was worth it to bring another day, once again broke into song. They celebrated because they thought that once and for all dictatorship had ended. Once and for all impunity had ended. That is what they thought. I regret 37 years later to inform you that nothing changed. When General Museveni was taking power, when he was swearing in at the steps of our parliament, he is quoted to have said that Africa's problem in general and Uganda's problem in particular are the leaders that overstay in power. That was 37 years ago. He is still the president of Uganda, who has kept himself in power by the gun. Anybody that threatens his power ends up either in jail or impoverished or killed. I myself am a survivor. This brother here is putting on a helmet, not because it's fancy, but because the shot that was supposed to get me got him on the head. Lucky enough, he's still alive today. Ladies and gentlemen, I could go on and on and on about Uganda, but even a day is not enough. Like I said, meeting fellow Ugandans was not the reason why I came to the US, but it's an opportunity that was worth embracing with both hands and legs. And now that we are here, My intention, due to time, I had intended to have this interactive, to have a Q&A, but I cannot fail to give a few thoughts. Number one, ladies and gentlemen, now that we are here, and by the way, I did not mention that we cannot have this home. We cannot have this in our motherland. There was a law that was put where if more than 5 Ugandans meet, they are committing a crime. They must get permission from the Inspector General of Police. It's all right, they can meet in thousands or hundreds of thousands for as long as they are meeting to get drunk, dance, and party the night away. But you cannot meet 5 people to discuss the future of your country. The last time our team tried to meet, they were brutalized, and my brother is now crippled. Just yesterday morning, female members of parliament were rounded up, beaten, and thrown into jails just because they were demonstrating for the rights of women in Uganda. It continues and continues. The impunity is through the roof. The corruption is sickening. The nation is being mortgaged. The resources of our country are being mortgaged in exchange for keeping power. I also dare to mention that we should not look at anybody for our liberation, because the dictatorship back home is largely sponsored by the West.
Straight up.
Before we communicate further, before we share, before I take any of your questions, brothers and sisters, I want to have 2 messages. The first message will go to fellow Ugandans that are here. Many are here against their will. I know you love your country. I know you want to be there. But I know it's hostile for you. This is my message to you. You are the hope that you're looking for. Everything depends on what you do. I want to encourage you to mobilize, to organize, and to agitate. Create more friends. I'm so glad to see that we have people from different walks of life. Many of them not Ugandans. But because you made friends, because you highlighted the plight of our country, you showed them, and they know that nowhere in the world is free until we are all free. We were taught by the great Dr. Martin Luther King that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Dictatorship anywhere in the world is a threat to democracy everywhere in the world. You have seen it recently, what is happening to Ukraine. When the world tolerates tyrants in any part of the world, you can be sure that it only emboldens other tyrants. And before you know, even this so much cherished democracy of America is at risk if democracy is not protected everywhere else in the world. The rights of the people of America are at risk if the rights of other human beings in the world are not respected. The world has watched before when the people of Rwanda were perishing in millions. The world watched on the 19th and 18th of November 2020 when more than 300 people were massacred on the Kampala streets, well documented on BBC and CNN. Yes. Unfortunately, the United States, the European Union, and other development partners continue to pour taxpayers' money in Uganda. So for you Ugandans, agitate, organize, and mobilize. Everybody can do this. I was never prepared for this. I am an artist. That is what I knew best. I was never educated for this. I was never nurtured for this. But it is the misery of my people and knowing that I have an equal right and equal responsibility that gets me here. So you can do it, whether educated or uneducated, whether intellectual or gangster.
Yeah, tell it. Tell it.
Finally, to our brothers and sisters, our friends, the Americans and the friends of Uganda, you too can play a role in the liberation of your brothers and sisters and friends in Uganda. At least you live in a country that listens to you. You live in a country that respects your rights. It is your taxpayers' money that is keeping keeping us enslaved. It's your taxpayers' money that is facilitating the oppression of my people back home. I request you to hold your government accountable through your elected leaders in Congress. You have the right and you have the power and ability to call out your government to stop sponsoring terrorism back in Uganda and in Africa. You can do that.
If they don't, we will kick them out. Yeah.
You have that power. At least you have the power to protest. We don't.
Correct.
We are subhuman in our country. Please help us be human. I want to thank you for listening to me. I want to thank you for being friends of Uganda. And I am happy to take a few questions from you, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you, and I thank you in a very special way, Professor Alimadi, for the invitation to Washington, therefore being able to be here today. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
So we can only take 3 very short questions. But in the meantime, something very important. This church has been very generous to us. Let's give them another round of applause. But as you know, even though the church tends to our spiritual issues, we need to finance those spiritual activities as well. So I would like for you to contribute, be generous to the church for having extended this hospitality today. I'm going to pass this basket, and as he takes these 3 questions, and I'm sorry we can't go beyond that, and it has to be very specific, use that time to please fill up this basket to the brim and overflow. Thank you.